See if you're able to see my live on Facebook. What's up, everybody? Somehow, me and Camden got nominated to go out and find milk and bread. We're not hoarding, we are out. We're almost out of, but we are down to about a day's worth of stuff. So we're heading out to, where are we supposed to go, Cam? Wise at Queensgate, right? That's where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Hey, Anita, how are you? But I wanted to talk about something. I've been on a series of conference calls and Zoom meetings and really just nonstop conversations about how to shift and pivot our business during this lockdown with conventional real estate for buyers. They're unable to go out and physically look at properties. We're unable to show properties. So conventional real estate is at a screeching halt right now for new transactions. Fortunately for a lot of us, there was a tremendous amount of momentum and pending transactions and deals that were already in the quote-unquote pipeline that have moved through the appraisal process, home inspection process, and are now in the lending portion, final stages, which has allowed, about 90% of our existing deals to continue to go to settlement, which is a big positive. But I was thinking about today, trying to forecast. We, by the way, bought 7 properties so far this week, and we've seen uninterrupted leads. We've seen uninterrupted willingness from sellers to want to sell their properties for cash, and our core group of investors are continuing to buy, most of which are buying for cash. We've started to modify our offers, anticipating a little bit of a downturn. But here's what I see as a huge positive for fix and flippers is that we are able to shift and change our approach immediately. So what we're seeing today, what's up, Brad? Matt Hockley, how are you, brother? Brad Chandler, a good friend of mine, longtime investor and just an absolute stud. Out in the Virginia, D.C. area. Good to see you, buddy. I hope all is well. But what we've seen is that there is still, a large enough portion of the population that is actively looking for a home. They've had uninterrupted, income, whether they work in the medical field or anything that's essentially been considered life-sustaining. These people are continuing to work. And for those of the portion of those people that were looking for a home, they are still looking. And what's going to happen is when whenever it is, if it's 3 weeks or 3 months from now, when these restrictions are lifted, there's going to be a large portion of the population that has chosen not to sell. Maybe they were a move-up buyer, and they were, selling only because they were moving up to a new property, or they were downsizing or whatever. If they're unable to move into that new property because of financing, or maybe they've just, been freaked out a little bit, which is understandable by what's going on, they've chosen not to sell. So you're going to see a drastic, I believe, possibly reduction in inventory. There's going to be less homes for sale. So for real estate agents, that's a challenge, because you just have the overall volume of transactions will potentially diminish. And I have a whole different theory about why that won't last long either. But for investors, we have much more control over our pricing. Now is the time where if you have a flip that's on the market or ready to go to market, do not overprice it. This is not a new approach. It's not a new philosophy. But what will happen is that you're going to have a large portion of the conventional seller population that is, still priced at pre-COVID pricing, their impression of the market was that when everybody was able to show homes, that there was tons of activity, right? Every house got a ton of showings, multiple offers, blah, 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 blah. The market was amazing. And I think there may be some reluctancy to bite the bullet and potentially lower prices when we go back to quote unquote normal, where with investors, if you buy today, you renovate knowing that there could be a shift or a slight decline in values. When you go to market, you're going to have your property and the ability to be able to price your flip lower than what the rest of the inventory is priced at, because you have more equity in most cases. We've gone into the deal knowing that we should be paying less, because in 90 days that there's the likelihood that we could see a small decline in values for a short period of time. Maybe not, but again, if you're buying right now and you're buying cash, I did a deal with one of our big investors yesterday, and he bought it for $8,000 lower than what I had it sold for previously. So now he has the freedom and flexibility when he brings that property to market to already be $8,000 to $10,000 below what anybody else will be. So now when these buyers that were uninterrupted, maybe they're in the medical field or any essential business that did not close, they're going to have less homes to choose from. And they may not have as much competition as they did before, so they could be a little bit more selective about what they pay. So one thing as an investor that you want to look at is it's an advantage for what you're able to purchase now. Be extremely responsible. Now's not the time to buy non-conforming inventory. I would stick with your conventional, bread and butter inventory, 3-bed, 1.5 bath, split levels, ranchers, colonials, semi-detached. The lower price points, I think will be, quick to recover sooner than the higher price points. But that's a big advantage I see potentially for investors, is that, just like I lived through 2008, when we saw the market shift, we started buying properties at discounts. So when they got to market, we were able to price them at discounts. And the buyers that were actively looking saw the value in that, because other properties that were on the market prior to the crash, in this case, that were on the market prior to COVID-19, were, it was a seller's market. People were able to price their properties extremely aggressive, meaning high, and they were getting showings, they were getting offers, sometimes multiple offers that would sell for over list price. So the great news for the investors that are out there that may be sitting on the fence is look for the deals. And a deal looks a little bit different today than it may have looked 30 days ago. But once you get the property renovated, let's say your average renovation project takes 8 weeks. It's I believe realistic that within 8 weeks things will at least be moving in the direction of back to normal. There's a lot of talk about portions of the population being able to go back to work and what that's going to look like, and I'm not here to argue about that. I'm just saying is that in some capacity, people will go back to normal and they're going to be buying homes. And as an investor, we have more flexibility. We have, I would say, a more transactional approach, or should have a more transactional, less emotional approach to selling that property. Don't fall in love with making $40,000. If you can make $15,000, $20,000 on your flip and sell it and get back into the market and buy another piece of real estate at today's discounted prices, then the quicker that you can turn inventory, the quicker you can get back active as a buyer, the more lucrative this opportunity could be for you. So that's just my 2 cents. I think it's something to consider if you're buying properties, renovating and reselling them, that when we go back to market, I think there's going to be a shortage of inventory. There's going to be a large portion of the seller population that has put their sale on hold because they want to stabilize. They may not be able to, move up to that new house because at this point, rates are different than they were 30 days ago. If someone's paying 5% to, now versus 3.5% a month ago, they may not be willing to move up to that $300,000 house or whatever it was that they were moving up to. So their homes that they live in now will be off the market. So I think you're going to see potentially a shortage of inventory. And now when you're an investor and you're putting a fully renovated property on the market that is also priced below market value, you should see your inventory sell quickly, and you're going to be selling to very qualified buyers, people that were able to, God bless them, remain gainfully employed throughout the lockdown. So those folks will have, a little bit of buyer muscles, right? Like, hey, I have down payment. There's less people out there buying. So we've gotten ahead of that, and we've started already reducing all of our prices, and we're seeing increased activity. People are capitalizing on us being ahead of the curve and discounting our prices because they see it for what it is. It's an opportunity. It's not, fun to talk about. It's a reality of life, is that through each of these market shifts and downturns and crises, there's always an opportunity where one person experiences loss, some people experience gain. And it is what it is. Like we are losing in our business now. I mean, we're continuing to do deals, but it's gotten more expensive to do business. It's gotten harder to do business. We're not able to sell our conventional flips right now because we can't show them to buyers. But one of the things I think you need to really consider as an investor, and one of the things that's extremely optimistic and I think very positive, would be that when we go back to being able to show homes, I think there's going to be a lot of sellers that have pulled their property off the market. So you're going to have less inventory. And I think you're going to have a lot of the inventory that's out there. People will still be fixated on pre-COVID pricing. So you're going to see some inventory that's, still priced at the top of market. So for you as an investor, if you're smart enough to take a reasonable discount, price your property a little below market value, your inventory will sell quickly, it'll sell for full price, and you'll continue to do business and make it through this transition. I hope everybody's doing well. Peace.